Here's my day so far. Went to jail, lost the girl of my dreams, and got my butt kicked pretty good. Still, things could be a lot worse. Oh, that's right. I'm falling to my death.
Megamind is a movie released in 2010 by DreamWorks and Red Hour Productions, directed by Tom McGrath, who also co-wrote it with the help of Alan Schoolcraft and Brent Simons. Megamind has themes of identity, responsibility, fitting in, and redemption as the flashy villain turned hero navigates the black and whites and greys of his society. Megamind, like many other films, is impacted by political, social, and economic context occurring at the time of the film's construction. All media narratives productions, no matter the form, will reflect social political context at the time of construction and distribution, whether it's films directed at an older audience like Greta Gerwig's iconic 2023 release Barbie, which reflected feminist perspectives, which is largely prevalent in 2023 due to the Me Too movement in 2017, or a film directed at a general or young audience. For instance, Megamind is aimed at the target audience of families, including young children, yet it still has themes about responsibility which can tie into political change of presidential power from George W. Bush to Barack Obama in 2009.
Just in the hands of him! No offense.
No, I'm with you. Look, we need your help.
How movies illustrate their themes and reflect the social context is through codes and conventions. Conventions are rules that are used within a media form, like in superhero movies, where there is a main protagonist and villain in the story, and generally there will be fight scenes. Essentially, codes are just representations that the audience come to expect in different media forms, and are the ingredients like lights and acting that help communicate a convention, like sharp cuts between characters to build the intensity of a fight scene, or the ominous, non-diegetic music that subconsciously informs the audience that a fight scene is coming. Of course, much like how filmmakers are utilizing codes that people are already familiar with in regards to what they represent, over time, people familiar with conventions or particular genre and form will recognize different codes and different messages within a film. For example, the Death Star in New Hope was originally illustrating greed and power that were big players in the war in Vietnam, which was happening at the time of the movie's release. While now people may interpret it as the looming threats taking over and destroying other, like Russia taking over Ukraine or Israel taking over Gaza. As stated in the introduction, Megamind is no exception when it comes to reflecting the context of the time of its production and distribution. Megamind touches on redistribution of power, which ties into the context of time of its creation, which was around 2007 to 2010, 2010 being the release date. During this time, George W. Bush, who was the president in 2008, was replaced by Barack Obama. This was a big shift in ideological and political approaches in the USA where the movie was created, as George W. Bush was Republican while Obama was a Democrat. Both parties have different political policies and different views. This is referenced in Megamind when it looks at what would happen if the supervillain won and Megamind alone ruled over Metropolis. This is commentary on the potential dangers of having concentrated power in the hands of one entity, raising questions on whether one political party should really be in charge and instead if they should be combined and reap the benefits of both of their policies. The movie Megamind looks at responsibility as well as the character Megamind, who grapples with his newfound position as a leader with unchecked power and the consequence of that. This may be in reference to George W. Bush's presidency that many people disliked. This dislike may have stemmed from how George W. Bush, like most presidents, comes from a wealthy background where he was the head of an oil and electricity company called Arbusto Energy, which he later named Bush Exploration, and merged with an even bigger company. Anyway, the point is that because he has a lot of money, it would be hard for him to sympathize with the majority of the population, which is middle or working class. And also having even more power as a president could be a struggle to use the power unacceptably, as seen with the handling of pulling soldiers out of Iraq, putting up a banner saying "Mission accomplished," despite the war continuing on after this point, and the amount of soldiers lost in battle. However, like Megamind, who began by stealing art and ended up cleaning up the streets, George W. Bush started being more responsible around the end of his presidency. Bush lowered taxes after the 2008 financial crisis, which continued to affect the country into 2010. He also created the No Child Left Behind policy. There are many codes and conventions in Megamind that help communicate the messages and themes that connect Megamind's social, economic, and political context. One of these codes is color. Color in Megamind gives us an insight into Megamind's struggle to fit in. This is especially seen in the restaurant scene. When he is disguised, he fits in nicely with the soft colors in the scene, and with Roxanne. When he transforms back, however, he is an anomaly in the scene. His light blue contrasts with the warm yellow and the orange lights and other warm colors in the background, helping accentuate the scene's dilemma and the fear of embarrassment that is expressed by Megamind and others in the scene. This color isn't always to contrast, however. We see in many scenes, especially the errand scene, that both Megamind and Minion have the same cool blue and black in their design, showing their relationship and connection, and helps illustrate the conflict within the scene, and Megamind rejecting not only Minion, but himself. This could be seen to reference steps forward in recognition and understanding for black groups in America, like the Gina 6 case in 2007, where 6 black kids were charged with beating a white student, which brought attention to tension and discrepancies in the justice system when it came to race and racial bias, as well as the Oscar Grant shooting in 2009, when an unarmed black man was shot by a police officer in Oklahoma, California, illustrating the biases against different races. This is also added to by the election of Barack Obama, which was a big symbolic step forward for America in being more accepting of different ethnicities, which may have made the writers more confident in exploring the themes of not fitting in and biases against people who look different in the film, this, as well as the struggles for acceptance in society not built with them in mind. This code is also linked to the narrative convention of character development. Specifically, colour is used to show character development with Roxanne Ritchie. In the beginning, she wears a red dress, but as she gets to know Megamind, she then wears purple, showing her slowly beginning to understand Megamind. And in the end, she wears blue, which is Megamind's signature colour, showing Roxanne's journey to understanding and forgiving the protagonist despite her stubbornness and black and white views that she carried at the start of the film. Another code is 3D animation. Many animations use a range of facial animation softwares to enhance the facial expressions of their characters. There are many different types, like Crazy Talk animation software. It can't be specified that what was used in this film, as it's not public knowledge. However, within this, the facial animation of all characters enhances the storytelling, like in the restaurant scene. The raise of eyebrows and then the squinting express Megamind's fear and embarrassment well, even without the voice acting or the hand movements. The greatest thing about animations is their over-expressive facial expressions, and also how it can give a human quality that can be sympathized with, even using creatures you wouldn't expect, like the fish creature Minion. Not only this, but the character design of the overbite helps the expression of a frown seen even more expressive and sad. The 3D effect of facial animation is at its peak in the door scene, or as many people call the no B scene, where we can see Megamind's face squished up by the door, and how that affects his mouth movements of the character. This code is used to show the progression of the story. This is seen in the following stages. The introduction. In the beginning, we see the status quo, which is shown in the emotions of Megamind's face, showing through raised eyebrows and an upturn to his mouth as he speaks that this is the start of something good, as he tricks the guard and gets into the car. Inciting incident, which is pretty much Metro Man being defeated. This is seen in the look of surprise and shock on Megamind's face when Metro Man reveals he is weak when it comes to copper, which puts a coil in Megamind's plan. Rising action. After Metro Man is defeated, Megamind is plunged into boredom, seen by his frowny expressions, but when he decides to make a new hero, he is suddenly more excited. He grins more when he talks, and his eyebrows raise. Conflict. Later in the film, in the Titan vs. Megamind scene, when he is held from his collar by Titan, his facial expressions of furrowed eyebrows as he looks at Titan and then back give the impression of fear. As the scene progresses, we see him get more confident as he narrows his eyebrows and then widens his eyes as he provokes Titan. Following action, in the scene Megamind admits that he had a reason to win, and the small smiles that Megamind gives bring emotion to the scene and allow the audience to turn their adrenaline from fear to happiness for Megamind, who helps bring the audience into a content feeling for the end. Resolution. In the resolution, Megamind finally is accepted by his peers and is now seen as the new Metro Man. The smile on his face is not mocking but truly happy, allowing for the audience to feel satisfied with the ending. The intended audience for the film was families, which meant it had to have humour and storytelling that was appropriate for both adults and children, as seen in the spelling and mispronunciation jokes within the film.
It looks exciting.
No, it says exit.
Which is the abbreviation for exciting, right?
Which were both things that were praised by the audience, and the twist on the superhero genre was well loved by viewers today, especially me. It was also praised for its voice acting, particularly Will Ferrell as Megamind and Tina Fey as Roxanne Ritchie. Megamind got 3 out of 5 stars according to Common Sense Media and got 16 nominations and 2 wins in the Annies. It's important to note that this wasn't the only big film out in 2010, and it was also in competition with How to Train Your Dragon, which is also a well-loved film by many, and got 10 Annie Awards and got 4 stars. Seriously, how hard is it to get 5 stars? These films deserve them. Anyway, in the present, while Megamind was a good movie, the representation of Roxanne Ritchie, who is an icon, does not pass the Bechdel test, and her being in the position of the kidnapped victim and the trophy for whoever is the hero is outdated, especially after the events of the Me Too movement that have allowed more accurate representations of women to come out. We may also see Megamind as less of a comment on the changing over of leadership. As Australia, we will have to wait till May 2025, so we're not really concerned. However, due to Black Lives Matter movement and the Yes vote, we can see this film more in the light of looking at racism and racial discrimination and profiling, as Megamind was profiled as the bad guy, so he became one. In terms of the villain versus hero mix-up, it could be seen as a commentary on how media and people should not be seen as black and white, or good or bad, and how there is a good and bad in everyone. However, in America, responsibility is even more present as a theme, as there is worry that Trump will be re-elected in November. Also, we're not very happy with the alternative, which is Biden. So ultimately, all films are impacted by context, whether it's made for kids, families, or adults, and they all have ideas they're trying to get across that tie in with the context. And the time of viewing also impacts how we see the film and what critiques we have for it. Like when I was a kid, I didn't pick up on how they depicted Roxanne as something to be won over. I just thought she was cool. Or that Megamind, the character, not the film, could be used to express racial prejudice. I just thought he was a misunderstood badass. But now, after the current events, my point of view has changed, and I think that while Roxanne is still cool, she could have been portrayed better, and Megamind is used to depict bias against people of colour. I also thought that Minion's name was Code, even after watching it 3 times, but I don't think that has anything to do with the context. Anyway, essentially films are impacted by context of the viewer and the creator, and this film is no different. Thank you for listening to my Megamind video essay.